Hello, everyone. Welcome. We're glad to have you here. Such a wonderful day. I just want to thank each and every one of you of taking your time and coming here, being present. It's a blessing to each and every one of us. Hi, Cindy. It's good to see you. We're going to start out with an invocation. So if you just take a moment and just relax, let's just pause for a moment, becoming mindful of the blessing it is to gather together for this lunch and learn. As we reflect on the timeless wisdom of Ernest Holmes, may we hear exactly what we need to hear. And may the words spoken here resonate deeply with our hearts and minds. Let the teachings of self-reliance that Ernest Holmes shared so many years ago spark new insights, deepen our understanding, and open our minds to fresh possibilities. We are deeply grateful for the profound reflections from the past, which continue to inspire and guide us today. And so it is.
Sandra, Sandra, if I may just share about the translation before you start.
Mhm.
Thank you. So it is. I just want to say, remember that this is our second time now that we have simultaneous translation. So if you speak a different language other than English, well, particularly Spanish, just remember to go down at the bottom of the screen. There's an interpretation button. Pick the language. A todos mis compañeros que están aquí en español, vayan a la parte de abajo, pueden poner interpretación, seleccionar su idioma para que escuchen la traducción. All right.
Thank you, Myrna.
You're welcome.
Well, as I was listening to Ernest Holmes' speech on self-reliance today, he emphasized two important principles. First, the necessity of believing in a power greater than ourselves. And second, and equally vital, a need to cultivate faith in ourselves in order to embody spiritual self-reliance. Holmes provides a roadmap for designing our lives, beginning with the foundation of our thoughts and instincts. He encourages us to trust the inner wisdom that resides within us and to remain mindful of the power we possess. By doing so, we can shape the life we truly desire. Moreover, Holmes reassures us that taking full responsibility for our lives is the key to unlocking harmony, inner peace, and alignment with our highest good. This is such a moving talk, and it just is a very powerful talk. So I'm just going to let us go right into the recording.
Self-Reliance by Ernest Holmes. First of all, the man with spiritual self-reliance must believe in God. It makes no great difference just what religious faith he has, for fundamental to all faith is a belief in God. Everything else is non-essential. First of all, then, and fundamental to everything else, is this faith in a power greater than we are. Next, and equally necessary, is faith in ourselves. And the kind of faith in ourselves we are talking about is, of course, not in an isolated self, as though we were struggling alone, but rather faith in a spiritual self, because this type of self-reliance comes only to those who have a deep conviction, not only about God, but about themselves. Therefore, this kind of self-reliance must have, as one of the mainsprings of its being, the conviction that man is a living spirit, that he has his being in a power greater than he is, and a power that responds to him. We all believe that God is, and we all believe that we live because God lives in us. And we think because the mind of God thinks through us, we should think intelligently and act creatively, because the mind that created everything is creating something new in us right now. Here are the first steps, then, in acquiring spiritual self-reliance: to believe in God with our whole being, to believe in the reality of our spiritual selves as forever one with God, and to establish a continual communion with that God who is both within and round about us. And last but not least, we find that all the great souls have acted on their vision. Having received it, they no longer remain passive. They carried the vision into action in human affairs. They were like people who listened to some celestial music in the silence of their souls, then sing it over again that others may hear it. They were those who went into the secret place of the Most High within themselves and received the healing balm of life, and then took it into the marketplace that others could be made whole. Jesus applied his spiritual power for every sort of purpose: the healing of the sick, feeding the multitude, and all the other miraculous things that took place in his experience. All of these were a direct result of having followed the first three rules fundamental to acquiring spiritual self-reliance: belief in God, belief in your own spiritual self, communion with God, talking to God, letting God talk to you. And then out of the inspiration that comes, carrying this power and this conviction into the affairs of everyday life. Let us then see how this would work out in our experience. And let's start with a suppositional case of someone who lacks confidence in himself. He has no self-reliance whatsoever. He thinks of himself as weak and inadequate, and he is filled with fear and disappointment. He is frustrated because his fondest hopes have been shattered on the rocks of experience. His boat is adrift on an ocean of uncertainty. Seems as there were no chart, no compass, no guide, no pilot, only aimless and uncertain drifting. Now we have described a pretty forlorn hope, haven't we? At least the prodigal son is as far away from his home as he could ever expect to be. And it was right here in this distant land, in this faraway place, that something happened to him. Something happened within him which he hadn't put there. Something which God had put there caused him to remember who and what he was. And so something within him did remember, and it whispered to him that things might be different. And this is hope. Hope coming like a gleam of light from an invisible source. And the will to listen. It is apparent in the story that the prodigal son did listen. He communed with God because everything else had failed. He listened to God because everything else he had been hearing was false and confusing. And just what happened to him at this point? Up until now, he had been out on his own. He had been all alone, so to speak. And he had become frustrated and destitute. And then at long last, he had begun to think, to listen, to talk to that something which he dimly remembered, just as we all do. And that something responded to him and brought with it a vision, the vision of a better life, the vision of a father's house, of loving associates, and a home for which he so greatly longed. Suppose that everything had stopped right there. He would have merely had a beautiful dream, a dream from which he must so soon awake, only to find himself plunged even more deeply into despair. But a new determination came to him, the will to act backed by the impulse of faith, and a whole new energy flowed into him, feeling, and imagination, and even this wasn't enough. For the will to act must be followed by the action, so that the will itself passes into action and becomes the act. It is only in this way that we can hook up our desire and feeling and creativity with accomplishment. And so the prodigal arose and started on the return journey. Would his father receive him? Had he strength enough to make the journey? What enemies would he encounter on the road? For there were thieves on that highway. What deserts must he pass through in the heat of the day? What mountains must he climb? What rivers must be forded? Seemed as though every obstruction that the imagination could conceive confronted him. But the vision did not die. His confidence was fresh and strong and clear. Even the most deadly attitude of all, which was self-condemnation, finally fled when the Father enfolded him in loving embrace. Well, this is the story of all of us. You and myself and everyone. It is the story of human life, the greatest story ever told, but without meaning until we personalize it. For we are that son, and so our experiment is with ourselves, as it always must be. And what difference does it make if we have floundered and failed? Now that we remember, let us arise and let us awaken. Let us awaken this sleeping giant within us, this spiritual genius who is forever one with God. And let us trust this divine partnership as we have never trusted anything else before. And for everything that says no, suppose we find a yes. And when the thought comes which says, I cannot, let's say, but God can. That within me, which is pure spirit, can and will. And if the thought comes which says, but look at all these obstructions, let's say God knows no obstructions. The spirit within me, my real self, knows no barrier. And for every argument that denies you the good you feel belongs to you, see to it that you find an affirmation which counteracts that argument. You need not be afraid, for faith already is in you, a faith which can overcome everything, a conviction that no longer doubts, a feeling that reaches out into the invisible and grasps power in its hands, draws it back into your experience and expresses it through your act. Gradually a conviction will come to you, which will turn all obstructions into opportunities, all fears into faith, and all doubts into certainties. Remember this: there is within you and at the very center of your being a truth which knows no evil, a power which knows no weakness, a light which can dissolve all darkness. The manifestation of good can be complete. Let every thought and act be an expression of that goodness which flows from life, that divine life which circulates automatically through you and freely. Every atom of your being is animated by its action. Every day recognize the abundance of life. And let your own thought animate everything in your experience with enthusiasm. And try to remember only the good and accept the good and expect the good. Know that your word penetrates every unbelief in your mind and casts out all fear and removes doubt and clears away obstructions, permitting that which is enduring, perfect, and true to be realized. Have complete faith and acceptance that all the thoughts, the statements, all the affirmations you make will be realized, and know that there is a presence and a perfect law irresistibly drawing into your experience everything that makes life happy and worthwhile. Know that whatever things belong to you will come to you as though God himself were bringing them. Recognize your good, understand, accept it and act upon it, and in joy enter into the fulfillment of that life which knows only good. and always think there is a power within you greater than anything that ever will confront you. This power you may call upon. There is a law of good that responds. There is an intelligence that guides. There is a love that protects. There is a law that governs. Say, it is God that worketh in me. Therefore I am letting go of fear and doubt. I am loosing it and letting it go, even as I affirm the presence of perfect life. And I feel that this life is entering into my being in harmony. I am one with its rhythm. I feel the undulation and the pulsation of the universe flowing through me with perfect power and ease and in joy. And I enter into a deep conviction that all is well. All is well with myself and with others. I enter into a conscious union with others, into harmony with everything that transpires in my everyday life, and into a deep sense of gratitude for life itself. There is one life, that life is God. In that life I live and move and have my being, even as that life flows through me in everything that I do and say and think. So I let go of everything that denies the goodness of this life. I feel that God is giving back to me everything that belongs to love and harmony and peace. Therefore I rejoice in this self-discovery, and I see myself not lost, but found in that which is perfect, complete, and whole.
Boy, doesn't that remind us that God works through us as us? Just a powerful, powerful talk. So we're going to break into our breakout rooms, and something really inspired you that you want to talk about. That's good. Also, maybe couple it with talking about the key ingredients of how you can build your spiritual self-reliance even more than where it is right now. So I think we're going to need like 8 rooms, Myrna. Is that correct?
I have 5 rooms. I put 3 in most of the rooms. Oh, but actually now I
Okay.
lost a couple of people, so I'm going to transfer them.
Okay.
Some of them will have 3 people. Some of them will have 4.
Okay.
Okay. Just
And that'll be for 15 minutes.
yeah, let me see. I think I have everybody. So there's room of 3, 4, 4, 4. Perfect. Okay. Just accept your invitation. Do we want to pause record?
Welcome back, everyone. I have a feeling that you had lively conversations. Anyone like to share? Just raise your hand or open up your mute button.
Well, Jim, I was going to raise my, I raised my hand. I was going to use the mouse to do it, but Jim challenged me, so I'll speak up. In our session, part of our conversation was about the prodigal son that Harry brought up. And I just shared, this is my thoughts. I believe we have prodigal son type experiences maybe all the time. And one of them I thought about that when I first began to resonate this idea years ago when I was beginning my studies with Ernest Holmes. A young, married, family, all those things, just busy with stuff. And all of a sudden I realized, why am I so uncomfortable? Where's the peace in this? And within some period of time, I don't know how short it was, came within that week. Well, you haven't done anything spiritual or gotten involved. You've gotten away from your spirituality practices. So, of course, that Sunday, first thing I did is went to church. Um, and I don't know that there was a message or anything, but it's the process and the practice of being in that environment that led me to where I am and really led me to studying Dr. Holmes more. And my life as a practitioner, I'm just grateful for that. So,
Mm-hmm. Good way to follow your instincts. That'll be too busy. Absolutely. Great. Anyone else? I'm
I'm
not.
I'm motivated. I didn't see anyone else's hand, but
Go
just
ahead,
I want
Debbie.
to I want to listen to that recording again. There are so many I want to say gems of
Yeah.
in it. It was wonderful. And so thank you so much for bringing that forward. Appreciate it.
Yes. Yeah, this is a great talk. And it, like you said, there's so many gems, there's so many ins and outs of things that you can look at and just, hold, for quite some time to think about. Just looking at the ins and outs.
How do I get to hear that one again? Because I share with what you said. I want to hear it again and again.
Well, on the website, Kathy, is that up on the website? I got it with the transcripts. I pulled the transcripts myself, but Kathy, is the recording on the website too?
You know, I just looked. We haven't uploaded this one yet, but you can watch the recording of our
Oh, yeah,
lunch and
that's right.
learn. We'll
Mhm.
have this up on our YouTube channel within an hour after the meeting. So,
And you can get the transcript right now. And I tell you what, I read that several times just to be with it. So sometimes the transcripts help.
What's the title again?
It's self-reliance.
Mhm. I'd like to make a comment about the topic self-reliance because it's it serves as a reminder that that self should be capitalized S.
Mm-hmm.
It is a reminder to discipline ourselves to not stay connected to the small self, but our power and our creative power, is in that connection and alignment and identification with the one mind.
Yes.
So, self-reliance is a famous, book, I guess, by who wrote that?
Emerson,
Emerson, yeah, yeah,
Ralph Waldo Emerson.
right. And our society has become so individualized that we think that we rely on our small selves, our ego, our efforts, our hard work and toil. But life is so much easier when we align and with the power of our God self.
Yeah. He sort of referred to that a little bit at the very end of the talk when he says, there is no obstacle, for God. It's just to remind yourself that it's working through as us.
Yeah, our only obstacles are our thoughts, our limiting thoughts, our
Yeah.
separation thoughts.
Yeah. My husband often says it's between your ears. Anything else? Anyone else? I'm not seeing hands, but oh, there, Jim?
Yeah, Sandra, I wonder, Ernest, our normal 5-step prayer, the third step is when you do the ask. But what Ernest did here, and I guess if you have the transcript, he had 4 steps. I mean, the second one, the first one was God, the second was faith. I think it was talk to God and listen to God, and then you do the ask. I wonder if you got the transcript handy, if you could say what those first 4 steps are, because in our group we had a little question about that.
Let's see if I can find it here.
I love it when he expands on the basic prayer.
He did. He said, here are the first steps. Okay, he says, here are the first steps then in acquiring spiritual self-reliance: to believe in God with our whole being, to believe in the reality of our spiritual selves as forever one with God, and to establish a continual communion with God who is both within and around about us. And last but not least, we find that the great souls have acted in their vision, have received it. They no longer remain passive. They carry the vision into action in human affairs. Let's see if that's not what you're asking.
Well, there's a different, it was fairly early.
Maybe it's earlier. Yeah, let's see here. Oh, okay. First of all,
You know, the transcript may not be exactly the same as the audio.
let's see. First of all, then and fundamental to everything else is this faith in the power greater than we are. Next, and equally necessary, is faith in ourselves. The kind of faith in ourselves we are talking about is, of course, not an isolated faith, as though we are struggling alone, but rather faith in a spiritual self because of this type. Let's see. I do remember him saying that, though.
Yeah. Well, anyway,
I know what you're talking about. I know. I remember him saying.
he
I
does
just I'm not seeing it right off.
time to time.
But yeah, the transcript is fabulous. Hmm.
Anyway, well, it's all good.
Could
All
I,
right.
I feel like I'd like to respond to that, because one thing about treatment prayer, and it's not considered a step, but the level of your belief and trust, and he used faith, makes that prayer as powerful as you believe.
Mhm.
And so your question, and then what she found in the transcript just made me realize that that's an important part of a successful treatment prayer, but it's not in any step. You could say a boring, 5-step prayer, or you could, just be shouting it from the rooftops. And it's called, that third step is the declarative step. My training really honed in on, this is a declaration. This is not a wimpy ask. This is a declaration of truth.
I'm going to read something that came across my desk just yesterday, and I thought that we have enough time. And it's a quote by Ernest Holmes is what it says, but I searched for it to find out where it came from, and I couldn't find it, so I don't know that it's exact. But it said, we should be careful to distinguish daydreaming and wistful wishing from really dynamic and creative treatment. When we treat, we do not wish, we know. We do not dream, we state. We do not hope, we accept. We do not pray, we announce. We do not accept something if something is going to happen. We believe that it has already happened. The science of mind and our beloved Ernest Holmes is an invitation for each of us to step into the fully beautiful, stunning beings that we are. I think that speaks exactly to what you were saying, Janet.
Thank you, Sandra. That is the cherry on top.
So we have a few more minutes left. Any other comments, or let me see if I can.
I don't have a comment about this, but I do have a comment about your April 24th through 27th event. Is that going to be, are you offering any of the keynote speakers to be Zoomed? I really wanted to come, but I don't know that it's going to happen. So I wondered if you were going to be doing that. So at the end, you can talk about that maybe.
Okay, I think Kathy probably will talk about that.
Yeah, I sure can. Thank you for bringing it up.
Kathy, do you want to go ahead and maybe pick up on that?
You bet. And so we're still working on the technology, but there's a possibility that we can do some live streaming of our event. And so I think the best thing is just to stay on our email list, and that's where we'll be broadcasting any information and updates on that. But yeah, technology is a good thing.
Yeah. Kathy, do you have any other updates or anything else that you would like to talk about with, like, and I guess our next one is on Thursday, 3 weeks, the third week always, we have the Lunch and Learn. What is it, April the 20, what did I look at that?
So yeah, the third
April
Thursday of the month.
17.
Thank
And
you.
the 17th? Thank you.
Actually, third Thursday, April 17th. Yeah, thank you, Sandra.
Yeah.
If you're interested, let me take you to our website, because that's kind of fun. And I'm so grateful that Cindy mentioned about our grand opening. So I just want to personally just invite all of you, if this is of interest. I know a number of you who are here are coming to our grand opening here at Unity Village in Missouri. So thank you all for that. I mean, it's really an exciting adventure, what we have done here in this past year of packing and moving our 100-year history and finding this gorgeous, beautiful place here at Unity Village. And it really is a celebration, but it's also history. It's being a part of history while you're here. I'm just trying to find the right words to express the depth of what we're going to be doing here in that celebration. Because to be here at Unity Village, people say, are you being part of Unity Village? I'm like, well, we can't actually, because unity is unity and we are religious science. We're all part of New Thought, though. And Unity obviously has the history of the Fillmores, and we have the history of Ernest Holmes, and both are absolutely beautiful within themselves and complementary. And it's really actually fun to learn about one another. I love, Buddhism and all those others, but oh my gosh, I need to learn more about our own New Thought movement. And so it's been an incredible opportunity to find these, the similarities. And when you hear Ernest Holmes' words echoed in Charles Fillmore or Nona Brooks or in any of the other ones, it just deepens it. And you're like, wow, this is amazing. This is a transcendent wisdom. And so when you come here, this historic Unity Village, where I'm sitting right now, and I look out and I see the fountains and the tower, you'll be a part of it. And so I just thank everyone, whether you're coming in person or to see the opportunities to stream virtually, to have your energy. We're going to be doing blessing ceremonies and other celebrations. Karen Drucker is going to be singing throughout. Dr. Jesse Jennings is our keynote speaker at our gala. And it's just going to be a joy. And it's a joy. So I am going to share screen real quick. So Sandra has been on our committee, which we're so grateful. And we have a number like Reverend Chris Plim is on our committee, and Myrna. And we've been putting together a beautiful Joyce event for everyone. And we just extended our deadline to sign up, to register. It was March 15th, and we've extended it to March 31st because we've heard of a lot of people say, oh my gosh, I so want to come. And so we so want you to come and be a part of it. And we have, this is our homepage, sciencemindarchives.com. And it's just a great place to learn about anything and everything. And so yeah, you can scroll on down. You can learn about what's happening at our event. Right now we're fine tuning it, which is fun. I think there still might be a spot open at Unity Village Hotel, but there's some hotels just like a mile away, so it's really close. Let's see. So this is fun. I just encourage people just to explore our website, as I think I say all the time. So these are our newest products that pop up in order. And so when we have meetings, I go here to find a new product. We've been using Ernest Holmes' prayer, a new heaven and a new earth. And it's so inspiring for our meetings. But again, on our homepage, you can just scroll down. And the audio prayers, you do need to either be a friend of the archives or have a website subscription to access them. So it's very nominal and it absolutely supports our cause. And you just go to join us to become a member or to get a website subscription. And again, here's your choices. And we're about to really beef up the membership when you're a friend. Reverend Mark Gilbert, bless his heart, is creating really special, unique workshops that are only for friends. And so there'll be some extra bonuses to do that. But again, you're supporting what we're doing, our preservation of our history and making it available to everyone. And so what I did to find that self-reliance, the easiest thing I think is this little hourglass at the right, and and I invite people, because I wrote self-reliant and I got nothing. So you find the smallest version of the word, like self-reliant, and then look at that. I found the transcript, I found this little article, I found the audio prayer on spiritual self-reliance. There's a whole bunch of things I found, and that was the link I put in the chat for you as well. But so Dr. Holmes, we've discovered he'll use like the same title in different ways. So it's a radio talk. He has it on this 45 record, which is what we're listening to today. So you can find it in a number of different formats up there. So again, the little search engine, or if you click on products, there's a gold search bar that's right here. And so you can also type in there, self-reliant. So again, like if you look up prosperity, look up prosper, and you'll get a lot more and better results. And I think we've shared before that Mark Gilbert, again, who we just adore, and he's on our board of directors. He's one of our lead researchers. He created all these help videos to help people how to really utilize our website even easier. And so you can just kind of scroll down. This is joining the archives, searching for audios and documents, listening to them, using for research. He created this whole page of research tools for researchers out there. And he's the one who's populating and creating this incredible Ernest Holmes inventory that we have available as well. So again, the website is just such a treasure trove. Also for those who, I think we just found it actually, but if you want to go to our YouTube channel, if you click on playlists, and so obviously go to YouTube, then Science Mind Archives and Library Foundation. If you click on playlists, we have a whole bunch of our lunch and learns. And so you can kind of just go back and automatically start. And then we get some ads too. We are not exempt from ads. But we're close though. Look at that. We have 901 subscribers. Our goal is 1,000. So tell 99 of your friends to subscribe to our YouTube channel so we can hit that magic 1,000. And again, I really think, well, confetti will fall when we get that. I like confetti. I think it'd be fun. Anyway, so here's all our different lunch and learned. I do my best right afterwards to upload it straight to YouTube. And but oh my gosh, we're adding these wise sage interviews. Like here's a lovely one with our friend Reverend Dr. Lloyd Barrett. Just lovely to hear the wisdom of the ages and the wisdom of our wisdom keepers. Look at this. There's Dr. Marilyn Leo interviewing Reverend Dr. Virginia Barnes. So just lots of good things on our YouTube and also on our website. And again, you are so invited to come to our grand opening. Come celebrate with us. It'll be a joy. I'll hand it back over to Sandra.
Okay, thank you so much. That was very informative, and it's always exciting to see all the new things that Mark's putting on there on that website. It's just, he does an incredible job. And he's going to be doing a class over at the gala or at the grand opening.
It's true. He's done a incredible research project on Ernest Holmes being on TV and what it was like back in the day. And he's really looked into all the minutes of the movement. I mean, he's really delved into it. He's so excited about it. So I'm excited to hear what he has to share.
So we are so grateful for each and every one of you taking your time and being with us. You make such an impact on this great opportunity of these lunch and learns. So we encourage you to come every month if at all possible, and just have a wonderful month ahead. And if you can get a chance to go to Kansas City and see our beautiful new digs, that would be fabulous. So thank you so much for being here, and blessings to each and every one of you. Bye-bye.